Florida State returns 3 linebackers, as you well know. Omar Graham Jr. being one of them, Blake Nicholson being another, and Justin Cryer, who we like a lot. I like Justin. I really want all 3 of those guys, obviously, to emerge and continue to get better. Justin's a guy that we did the interview with Justin, and he was a lot of fun to talk to. He's tough, smart, and I think has a chance to be very productive.
And he wants to be the one that changes the reputation of the position at Florida State.
He does. Obviously, Blake's played a lot of football for Florida State to differing results, right? At times he's played well, at times he's played poorly. At times he's just lacked size to do some of what they wanted to do. He did lead the team in tackles, second on the team in tackles last season, 52. And Omar Graham had 37 stops. So those are the 3 that are coming back. Stephon Thompson's the kid that came over from Nebraska, and he was with Tony White and played in that 3-3-5 scheme at Syracuse and then went to Nebraska. He has started more than 20 games in his college football career. He was really, really good in 2021, had 79 tackles, 6 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, by the way. So this is a 6th year for him and playing college football. So 6-year senior with almost 200 tackles under his belt. That was the one you kind of felt like, given knowledge of scheme, maturity, production, that was the home run you had to hit. He's going to help you both on the field and in the classroom, meaning the teaching of this scheme.
Yeah, look, also in an age where you have green dots in college football, I mean, he has to be the leader in the clubhouse.
One would think
Stephon Thompson would have the green dot to communicate in the checks. That's, I belabored this point with Tatum Bethune making such a difference when it came to communication from the sideline and relaying it to the front, the defensive lineman that is in front of him, and then his compatriots at the second level. You need to have that guy again. And if it's Stephon Thompson, then he's worth his weight in gold. Even if it's not, and he gets guys prepped and spring goes smoother for him being on campus and he's a rotational piece instead of your anchor, that's just fine too. But we'll see. It's an interesting room because also you do have a couple of kids with outside shots in Hickman Collins, but Jaden Parrish, impressive body type. Again, you get a new set of eyes and a new set of development
to assess
skills.
Those players, yeah.
Yeah, and it's twofold. John Papuchis is now the position coach. Tony White is going to be heavily involved with the linebackers, I would imagine, because he's got people he knows running the defensive line and then also the safeties in the defensive backfield. So where's Tony going to spend his time? My guess would be at the linebacker position.
Elijah Herring, the other big name, obviously, that Florida State brought in, and he was a guy that before last season, when this process was playing out, I really wanted him. In essence, it was a no-go. Randy didn't like Elijah Herring or as a prospect, and so we didn't get him. And he went on to Memphis. Now, 2 seasons at Tennessee, 1 at Memphis. He has started 23 of 37 games in college, 151 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 6 sacks to boot. He was really good at Tennessee in 2023, had 80 tackles, and I would think he's going to come here to start without question. And that kind of production is what we've been describing a lot. In terms of the focus changing and shifting away from, hey, this guy's got potential, to we've seen him produce in college. I know he can play.
Well, and he helps create competent, real competition for the rotation. And that's, I agree with you. If you're putting live odds on it, he's minus money to be a starter for you.
Yeah.
But, if you brought in nobody, or you brought in just the young kid from North Carolina,
Caleb Lavalley.
Yeah, Lavalley, whatever it is.
Lavalley, yeah.
We'll learn it as he gets better, because that's what happens. You play better, we learn your name. Let's just say he was the only guy you brought in. Okay, you'd be excited about the get, but when you're talking about competition and battling for jobs, especially if you can have 3 linebackers on the field for a lot of your sets, man, that doesn't push it the way it does when you bring a Stephon Thompson in or a Herring in, because now somebody who's on the bench you think is a pretty good player on a given down. It's 1st and 10. You do have 3 linebackers out there. Your 4th guy could be Graham. It could be Lavalley. It could be Juice. It could be Stephon Thompson. No matter who it is, at that point you say, I like the room a little bit better because now, this past season, the year prior, if the third guy came off the bench, you thought, I don't know, situational player at best. Big difference.
Lavallee, by the way, was recruited when he was coming out of high school by Florida. He was recruited by, obviously, North Carolina, whom he signed with. But he was recruited to the Big Ten, a couple schools there, Northwestern being one of them, which I bring that up because they've had good linebacker play over the years. And he was recruited by Wake Forest, and we offered him at the time too. So, he had some suitors, some pretty big name suitors, and he went to North Carolina, 2 seasons there, got his chance to start in the bowl game, had 9 tackles, was very good in that bowl game, stood out to the point where some of their folks were tweeting about the future was bright for him. And 2 hours after the game ended, he put his name in the portal.
No, the sun is brighter in Florida than it is in North Carolina.
It's a beautiful thing, right? So there it is. We'll see.
That's another great question for Tony White as this thing goes along. Not all linebacker responsibilities are created equal, and not all body types for the positions are the same. Inside linebackers tend to be stockier, but in a 3-3-5, let's just say that you do play some of that some of the time. What responsibilities would a linebacker have in that set versus a 4-man set? What more agility do you need, or coverage skills, or stoutness, because you don't have as many linemen up in front of you? Do you need to have a stouter body type at one of those positions? So if you can slot body types and skill sets in for each position, how would you do it? Because we do have a variety of players. Some of these linebackers we brought in are those shorter and more stout types. Meanwhile, Blake Nicholson is more of a coverage linebacker. So where would he run?
Yeah, he can really run. He's had a hard time against the run, but he can really run. If he gets bigger, I think his problems will be solved with the run stuff, because he diagnosed it better last year than he had previous. I mean, obviously, we liked him because he could go.
Yeah, he could really flip your hips and run with somebody. Yeah.
He was almost like a glorified safety for a while there. But
in truth, look, if you've got a running back on a linebacker in this system, in Fuller system, it's advantage offense.
Oh, of course.
It's still going to be advantage offense, but you just want guys to be more competent. And then if you do play a zone, you want them to have the wherewithal that you don't have to stand on that blade of grass because that's where it says to stand on the whiteboard. Do you have some instincts about you?
How many times we watch them like, I think they're taught that patch of grass is the only place they can go.
Or the depth of your drop is going to be different in a goal line set or a 3rd and 4th and short than it is on 1st and 10. Can we get up closer to the line of scrimmage? Those type of instincts would go a long way.